Happy Monday, job snatchers. I am bringing you another gem. I'm going to let her introduce herself, but you guys better grab your pen and paper because you are in for so many gems to be dropped. I'll pass the mic to you so you can introduce yourself.
All right. Well, first, just thanks very much for having me on here. I'm super appreciative. I'm really excited. So, for everybody who doesn't know me, my name is Erica Walthaw. I'm a local real estate agent. I know we'll talk about this a little bit further in the interview process, but when I say local, I am local to Solano County, Bay Area. So, if you're in those areas, I am your girl.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me what made you pick real estate? Real estate is so hard to me. So, what was your moment?
That was why I think like I had always kind of I was always fascinated by it. So my first background is like fashion merchandise marketing. So that's the world where I really come from. But I was always interested in money, finances. And so when I started the process of like trying to figure out how to buy a home, realizing how hard it is, and just how much education isn't out there. And then I was like, me being the type of person that I am, well, let me figure out like, how do I learn about this? All right, let's go to
Right.
school for it and let's see what happens. And so that's how it started. But it was really more a drive of like to educate my community.
Okay.
First started with wanting to educate myself. And then it grew into like, none of us know about this stuff. Even if
Right.
our parents own a home, they came from like at least my parents came from the generation of where you didn't talk about finances. You didn't talk about any of this kind of stuff, right? Not politics, not finances. Like you were just supposed to get out there and figure it out on your own. They had to figure it out on their own. They didn't have nobody to
Right.
talk to. So I was just like, doing more research. I'm like, wait, but them over there, they're not learning on their own.
Nope.
It's conversations that are constantly being had. So
Right.
I just kind of wanted to change that. So that's what was my driving force.
Oh, I love that. What's been the hardest part of being a real estate agent?
Ah, just depends. There's different sides, right? So like when you talk about like the business side, I apologize if you guys
No,
have
you're fine. You are fine. The dog is having a good time.
they are going crazy. So if you talk about the business side, right? Like
Yeah,
social media,
fair.
that has been the hardest thing. That is not my wheelhouse.
Okay.
So that has been something that's really hard. But it's like, in order to, I hate to say the words to say relevant, but it is true to stay relevant and on the top of people's minds. You have to put something out there on social media, right? Some part of you, the world that we live in. Even when I'm going to look for something or someone, I'm going to TikTok or Instagram to find out if they have a page, what they're about. So not mad at consumers, our clients, because that's what they do. It's just not my favorite thing to do.
It's hard. Being visible all the time is a job. Thank
Oh,
goodness for social media managers, but it's a job to just even get on and interact with your audience every day. Make sure that people understand that you are at the top of your industry and that you know what you're talking about.
yeah.
That
And
takes time.
it takes, because then you got to like think about the content that you want to create, record it, figure out if you're just going to put it out there. Are you going to edit it? Do you want somebody to record it for you? Like, then now,
It's so many pieces.
now you got to put this in your budget. Like, all these
Yes.
things because you don't think about that, right? Um,
Right.
at least not initially, not especially not when you're going into real estate. You're not thinking like, oh, I need a. You think marketing budget, but you don't think social media marketing budget.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. It's
that
hard.
one,
Yeah, I definitely get it. I don't social media is my least favorite part of being like an entrepreneur business owner because visibility is key, right? So every day you have to get in front of people. Every day you have to have a conversation and you have to have engaging content. And half the time I'm like, my content isn't engaging, but if it'll get you to do something, then I know I did my job. So in the real estate game, I know it's really interesting to have like visuals of the housing and things like that. Like, do you do that on your own? Do you hire a team? What does that look like? Like, what is the planning of a show? Like, let's say you're showing a house.
Yeah.
How do you plan for that showing?
So if I am just doing a showing with my client, I will go out and I will take my clients and I'll do some recording, right? Because people want to know active, they want to see what's out there. This house might not be for the particular client that I'm showing, but it could be for somebody else that's out there. So I actually record while, because I will let my clients kind of walk the house on their own and do.
Okay.
So when it comes to that, I do the recording. If it is, I have my own listing and I am marketing, I absolutely hire out for someone, and that is a fee that I take on for my clients. And so
Okay.
absolutely make sure that we are getting this house marketed professionally. So I hire someone to come in, do whatever recording it is that I deem is necessary for this house.
Mhm.
So however I feel like it needs to be marketed, then I'll make sure that I take care of that and get it done.
Nice. Okay. So then here's a golden question. What sets you apart from other real estate agents? From your approach to your expertise?
Um, so expertise, we all have an expertise in something, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and play somebody and be like, oh, I know this over someone else, because I don't necessarily. But what I think sets me apart from other people is I really move with intent, and I'm really move with honesty with my clients. Like if there's something I don't know, I'm going to find out for you, but I'm also going to tell you I don't know, right?
Right.
Because I would never want to lead my clients into them thinking either A, I know everything, and then something
Mhm.
comes later and I don't. So I'm just going to be completely upfront and honest with you right then and there. I'm going to find out the answer or whatever the issue is.
Right. One way or the other.
I'm going to find out. We're going to fix it. We're going to work through it. But I just don't know it right now in this second. So give
Right.
me it. Let me get this answer for you. I'll be right back. Like, and I just move with intent, because my thing is you are helping someone with the biggest purchase of some people's lives, right? Um,
Right.
it's their first time, which is extremely important, or whether it's their second time or they're buying investment property or something like that. It is a huge investment, and they are trusting me to lead them in the right financial direction.
Yeah.
It's an emotional roller coaster like no other. So they're expecting me to be their soundboard. So that I just try to move with real pure intent. And I'm a huge believer in what's meant to be is meant to be. So what's for me is for me, what's for you is for you.
Yep.
So how I operate. And I think that's kind of what sets me apart. I don't worry about other people. I just worry about me and my client.
That's a really good answer.
Oh, thank you.
How do you stay current with market trends and changes in the local real estate landscape? Excuse me.
Yeah, so with the brokerage that I'm with, I'm still with EXP. We have daily trainings, so I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
call every single morning, and that's just our regular calls that we have, and that's just constantly just checking in, seeing what's happening in the market, like what can we do, how can we serve our clients better. I try and make sure that I stay going to like my local, so what we call it, it's the association board. So I make
Okay.
to my local association board. I go to those meetings every week. We have one of those every week. So I just try to make sure that I'm reading and I'm in any trainings that I can possibly catch and be a
Okay.
part. There are some trainings that are like non-negotiable that I'm always on. It's just, you got to do it whether I want to
Yeah.
or
Right.
so that's what I do. That's how I try to make sure I'm staying ahead and knowing what's going on. And also too, like no shame, I'll reach out to some of my peers. I have a peer that I reach out to. She is phenomenal when it comes to finding additional resources, like to help with down payments and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So if I have a client, I think
No, that's perfect. You got to use your network.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we all help each other. So we're really all about iron sharpens iron. So I
Yeah.
have no shame. I will absolutely reach out to another agent for my client.
I love that. Okay, so I haven't bought a house yet. So if I were to purchase a house, can you explain the process of buying a home from start to finish? Like, what does that look like? What could I expect?
Absolutely. So what you would want to do, and I suggest this for everyone, is you want to find your local agent, right? Who is in the area that you want to purchase in. Or even if they don't live in that area, they know that area and they sell in that area or have helped people buy in that area, whatever the case may be, because they're going to be the ones to really be able to tell you and truly let you know, like, yeah, this home is worth what they're asking for. Um,
Okay.
we could go a little under, or you're probably going to end up bidding over, whatever that looks like, right? So that's going to be the first thing, is find an agent who is local to the area you want to purchase in. Second is that agent should be able to help you connect with a lender. I
Okay.
always give my clients at least two to three lenders to interview, because I say this, just like you should be interviewing your agents, you should interview more than one, because it's a long road and you got to vibe with both of us.
Okay.
And even though I get along with all of with all these lenders I'm giving you, you may not. And that's okay.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you feel like this person understands you
Hmm.
and communicate really effectively with you, is going to push you, or is going to give you whatever it is that you need. Because if you don't think so, then it's not going to work, right?
Right.
There's a really huge part of the puzzle as well. So that's the second thing. Once you found your agent, once you found your lender, now the lender and I are going to talk. We're going to make sure that your funding is correct, that your credit score is correct. So once we get the financials all buttoned up,
Hmm.
how much you need for a down payment, and we have confirmed that you have that in the bank. We know what like our closing costs and everything is going to be. We've confirmed that we've gotten all of those resources. Then we're going to go out and we're going to start looking for houses. And then once we start looking for houses, once you find your house, then we
Hmm.
start offers. Um, and I tailor the offer to whatever it is that you and I have discussed. We
Okay.
get that offer. If it gets accepted, great. If not, we see if they want to negotiate back and forth. If they don't, then we continue on and we keep looking.
Okay.
That's
What do
like
you?
in the shortest form.
Yeah,
That's
that was perfect.
that happens in there.
I was about to say, I'm sure there's a lot of meat and potatoes missing, but you gave me a great structure because that's, a lot of us who have never experienced a home buying process, we don't even know where to start. We don't know where to look. I would have never thought to interview lenders. So I was like, okay, you see, I had to put it in the chat. I was like, okay, let me pull this up because I know somebody else needs this too. And then I wonder, what are some of the common pitfalls or mistakes that home buyers should avoid?
So when you are buying a home, I'm sure everyone sees this, but even though as much as we put it out there, as much as it's on social media, I
Mhm.
cannot stress enough. If you've been working with the lender and they've got you pre-approved, because there's a difference between being fully approved and being pre-approved. So, or what we like to call fully underwritten and then pre-approved. If you are pre-approved, do not change your job.
Okay.
Do not mess with any credit cards. Don't overpay them. Don't underpay them. Don't stop paying them. Like,
Okay.
everything you were doing to get your credit to where it is, you must continue doing until you have the keys in your hand. Because what people don't understand is, even through escrow, the underwriter is still running your credit again and again and again. And if something has changed from the time they pre approved you to the time we get to the closing table, we're not getting to the closing table.
Oh, wow.
And people don't understand that. They think, okay, I'm pre approved,
Right.
buy some furniture. Let me go buy this car.
Right.
Up little Pookie cosign.
Right. You're like, no, don't stop. Stay where you're at. Don't change.
everything. Now we've got to start all over. You still may be pre-approved, but if you were pre-approved for 550, 600,000, now you're approved for 400 because you just put out a loan for somebody else. We are in California. You tell me what you're going to get for 400,000. It wasn't what you were going to get for the 6.
No, not at all. Dang. So those are all things. Wow.
Yeah. So it's really important that you stay in constant communication, especially if you are someone whose credit and income is like right on the verge, like you are just approved. It is
Mm-hmm.
important. That's why I say you got to stay in contact with me
Yeah.
or whoever that is, and your lender. And your lender and your agent should be guiding you through the whole entire time. I promise you that couch and whoever else needs any money, you want to put on your credit card is going to be there when you get your keys. I
Yeah.
promise. So like that's
Absolutely.
one of the biggest things. The other thing is affordability, right? So
Right.
when you are getting your first home, we don't, you're not going to get everything you want.
Okay, that's honest.
You're just not going to get everything you want in this house. So the biggest things I always like to say is location is huge,
Okay.
right? Sure that this is a community that you can see yourself in. Is it easy commute to work? Is it in this? If you have kids, is it in their school district? So location is always going to be the biggest one. Another thing with location is what is the home percent growth for these houses here? Like, will your home value increase? Obviously, we're in California. Yes, it will. But like, what is the potential for the increase if you want to sell this home in 5 years and 10 years? So those are things we look at as well. But the biggest thing is just knowing like you're not going to get everything you want, right? So you may not get the perfect backyard, but
Right.
in the right location, it's the right size, it has the right amount of bedrooms you need. We can work on the backyard down the line.
Right.
And aesthetically, it may not look like what you want it to look like. Okay, paint isn't that expensive. You can
Right.
on down the line. So sometimes you just have to have a different vision because the value that that home is going to have in 3 to 5 years when you get ready to sell. Like if you're just like, oh, I can't find anything, there's nothing out here that I can afford. Well, let's put on some different lenses. And can you afford this home? Is this not your forever home? Is this not the home that you like really envision and want it to be? But with a little bit of elbow grease, can you make it in a couple of years?
Right.
Right? Can you make that your home that you want in a couple of years? And then when you're ready to sell, if that's what you choose to do, now you could possibly have, 60,000 to $100,000, depending on who. It just doesn't. I don't know. It depends on what the market looks like. But you get
Right.
a chunk of money inside your house that you can now utilize to go and buy your forever home.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. I'm
Yeah.
over here taking notes my damn self. I'm like, wait, I didn't realize this because it's true. You always think you're going to get everything you want from the first time, and that's unrealistic. That's with anything. You're not going to get everything you want. And where you can put the elbow grease, you hit the nail on the head. Be willing to see a different vision and put on a different pair of lenses so you can have the home of your dreams.
Yeah.
Even if you do have to make it yourself. So what?
Absolutely. And then it's like you're getting all that additional value because when you do go and get a home that's 100% everything is there, you're paying
Mhm.
because they
Yeah,
grease in it. So you're paying for their sweat equity. You could,
absolutely.
so you could get one that doesn't have it, but it's like, okay, the structure is here. It's safe. Like it's all good. It's in a great neighborhood.
Yep.
Okay, I can spend the $80 a month to have a landscaper come out and keep up the land for me
Yep.
after a little while. Or I can, ask my girlfriends and the homeboys or whoever, my family, to come over and have a paint party with me. Like, let's get some pizza
Right.
and we just all paint. That's super inexpensive and it changes your house dramatically. I can find a great sale on some floorings. And you know what? All I can afford to do is the flooring in the kitchen today. Okay.
Yep.
6 months down the line, I can afford to do the living room now, or I can afford to do the bathroom. So just keeping that in mind, that you don't have to do everything at once. You can bite off a little bit at a time and slowly fall in love with the house.
Oh, I love that. Now, here's my other question to follow up with that. How do you determine the fair market value of a property?
So what we do is we call it a CMA. So it's a comparative market analysis. So
Okay.
um, we sit there and we say, okay, we kind of try as our best to do apples to apples.
Okay.
So we try and find homes that have sold. Depending on what the market looks like, will depend on how far we go back. 6 months, 3 months, and we see what's sold in the area,
Right.
what's currently active in the market. Um, and then we determine, like, okay, this is a good price for this house, or it's overpriced. You can always,
Gotcha.
not always, but you can tell sometimes if something's overpriced if it's been sitting for too long, right? And so you're just kind of like, I mean, yeah, maybe 5 months ago, 6 months ago, it was worth this, but today no one's really out, so it might not be worth this anymore.
Ooh.
Um, if it's pending within like a couple days, a week or two of it being on the market, you're like, oh, that was priced perfectly.
Mm.
So and that's what we kind of use for people who are getting ready to sell, and like how we want to price their house. I also do it for my clients who are buyers, because I want to make sure, like, are we overpaying?
Right.
I mean, you're gonna get it appraised, and the appraiser is gonna come out and tell you what that home's value is worth regardless. But I just want to make sure when we're writing that offer that we're writing something that is truly what this home is worth.
That's perfect. So when you are doing the strategy behind negotiation,
Mhm.
what type of strategy do you utilize to get the best deals for your clients?
Every client and every transaction is different. So
Right.
it really just depends, right? It depends on the funding that my client has.
Hmm.
Um, it depends on what price point they're in.
Hmm.
So I'm always gonna, like I said, clearly do a full workup on the house, on the home, see if it's worth what they're asking, come up with a game plan and say, okay, yeah, I feel like it's worth it. If there are any grant funding out there where I'm like, oh, we can get this extra 5,000 towards closing costs, or 1,000 towards closing costs. Let's make sure you're income eligible for it. I'm going to utilize that for them. If I feel like, hey, they have some reports already done, there's a little bit of roof work that needs to happen, or some what we call section one, so like pests and stuff like that. I'm going to try and see, can we get a seller's credit?
Oh,
Um,
okay.
there's little things like that. Or even if there's none of those things, but we need to buy down the interest rate a little bit so that they can afford the house. Let's see if we can get some seller's credit there so that they can help you buy down the interest rate a little bit. So there's all sorts of different ways to kind of go about that. It just kind of depends on what the home is, what the market is looking like, and we kind of go from there.
Okay, that makes sense. So it sounds like you're a little bit of a negotiation shark, which I kind of like.
You have to be, and you want to do it for your clients too, right? Because like
Right.
on the buying side, like they're getting ready to fork over their life savings. If I could save you anything,
Right.
I want to. You've done all this work, you've done everything to save, you've done you to fix your credit, all these different things. So it's like, if we could save anything, now you
Hmm.
couch on the credit card, go pay cash for it, because you just saved
Right.
$1,000.
Right. You really are making an impact in somebody's savings.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know
So
that's right.
you don't have to
So
put towards the
go ahead.
house, save it. Yeah,
Right. It's so, doing a service-based industry is always it's enjoyable, but it's also a lot of pressure
it
because
is
you do want to help your client save the most money. You want to make sure that you put your client in the best position to purchase, to sell, and to feel comfortable and confident in the decisions they make.
absolutely, and it's also really hard too, because when you just brought up the point of pressure, because
Hmm.
up all of those things, and sometimes none of those things are available. We just got to pay
Right.
what we pay, right? And
Right.
hard kind of going back to the social media thing because you hear people say this and that, and I saved and my client got, and it's like you don't know what their situation and what their income is. And I
Right.
just had to tell a client the other day, like, I'm so sorry, I brought this grant to you, but you guys are 4,000, you make $4,000 over the AMI to be able to qualify for this program.
Oh, that's a heart sinker because you want them to, you want to give them the best options and give them all the resources.
You know, and so she was like, so can we just not work for a little? I'm like, no, you can't do
You
that.
got to keep working. You got to keep working. What did you say? Whatever you started doing, keep doing it.
Doing it.
Yeah, that's got to be hard. And then, so then how do you handle those type of challenges when they arise? Because I'm sure a lot of things change during real estate,
Yes.
right? Like somebody could be qualified 1 minute, unqualified the next. Like, how do you handle those types of situations?
That's why it's an emotional roller coaster, right? You have to be honest with them. Don't be
Mhm.
around the bush. It is
Right.
what and you know how to talk to your client, and you know what type of, as long as you've been paying attention to your client, you know how to talk to them, you know how they're going to take the news, so you should know how to deliver that news to them, but also
Mhm.
know that there still is hope. Like, just because this was a no, or just because
Right.
you have to come up with a new plan, that's it, that's all it is. It's a roadblock. We're going to
Mhm.
come up with a new plan now. We got you. We're going to get there. This way didn't work. That's okay. Let's cry about it. Let's be upset about it. And then let's move on. Let's get over to this next plan.
I like that. You have to hit roadblocks head on. That's the best way to describe it. So then, can you provide insights into the current like real estate market? Is this a great time to buy?
Um, okay. So honestly, because that's all I know how to be, um, it's a great time to buy when you can afford to buy.
Okay.
Pay attention to interest rates. Do not pay attention to what everyone else is saying. Are you approved, and can you afford this monthly mortgage?
Okay.
That is the two bottom line.
Okay.
Are you approved, and can you afford the monthly mortgage?
Okay.
If you can, buy. If you
Okay.
wait until you can, because rates are always going to go up and down. And if you
Right.
buy and the rate is high and then it goes down, refinance.
Gotcha.
Get into a lower rate, have a lower payment. If you buy and the rates go up, then you're happy you bought when you bought.
Right. Right. You came in at the right time. That's honest. Those are two great things to remember. If you're approved and can you afford the monthly mortgage?
That's all I can say. I mean, are there times where it's like, do we all wish we bought a house in 2020 when the world was upside down and rates were at 4?
Right.
Absolutely. Like, but
Right.
some of those people got into homes because the market was so crazy, and they
Yeah.
just whatever they could get in because they were tired of fighting with people, and they were offering way more than what that house was actually really worth. And now, because they're sitting with an interest rate that's so low and they want to sell now
Mhm.
and they want to move, they can't.
That's a crummy position to be in.
It is. So, it's always going to be a good time for someone. It's always not going to be a good time for somebody else. So that's
Right.
when you're really truly dedicated to wanting home ownership, don't
Mhm.
pay attention to the noise. Get you a great team, get you a great agent, get you a great lender, and let's go ahead and let's focus on the plan. Make
Yep.
sure you afford it, make sure you're approved, and let's go.
I love it. That's a good answer. Thank you. Because I know real estate is hard and it's definitely not my zone of genius. And I love the idea of being in the space to be able to buy at some point and get the insight. That was the most important thing to have you on today because I know I have a lot of followers who are wanting to buy and purchase real estate and don't know what to do, don't know if there are real estate agents that, speak their language that align with them.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, there's a lot of us out here, so that's why I just say, you know what? Interview them and make
Yes.
sure that you guys vibe, y'all gel together, you trust their communication style.
Right.
They answer your questions when they can. They get back to you in a timely, promptly manner.
Mhm.
There for you when they can be, and you feel comfortable and confident in that. If you don't, then you gotta find somebody else.
Absolutely. So then here's a hard question. How do you break up with a real estate agent
So to be
without ghosting them, right? Like you don't want to just ghost
uh,
anybody. Don't ghost people. Don't ghost your real estate agent. But if you want to have a respectful breakup, what do you do?
if you want to have a respectful breakup, right? It depends. I'm going to speak for the state of California because we all have different contracts.
Okay.
If you are on the seller side and you don't like the way, you feel like your home has been sitting on the market too long, you don't like the way they're marketing it, you don't feel like they're doing a great job, whatever the case may be, you
Hmm.
do anything. You can have them take your house off of the market and not market it anymore, but you can't break up with them legally and relist your house with somebody else until that contract is canceled.
Oh,
So it's either one or two ways. You both have to agree to cancel it, the agent and the homeowner, and then you guys sign that paperwork. Or if the agent is mean and wants to hold you hostage for whatever reason, but if they, you gotta wait till that contract ends. That's what
damn.
contract is. On the buying side, we do have a buyer's contract and a buyer's agreement. It's a little bit easier to break up with somebody on the buyer side than it is on the seller side. But I think it's having that conversation. And to really be honest, the best thing you can do for that agent is to tell them why you're breaking up with them.
Okay.
It's like if you are in love with somebody or you've been talking with somebody for a long time and they ghost you, what do you want?
You want clear communication as to why.
You want closure. And
Yeah.
you want it for several reasons. You really want to give it to that agent so that they can be better the next time
Gotcha.
because we're all learning. And so if you just ghost me and I have no idea why, it's just like in a relationship. We constantly playing in our head like, what did I do wrong? Did I call him too much? Did I not?
Right.
I gave him all I could, but
Right.
what happened? And it could be my all was not enough for you. And that's
Right.
okay. Just tell me. Because now the next time I get a client who's like you, now I know how to cater to them a little bit better.
Feedback.
Yeah,
Feedback goes a long way.
just give, yeah, it goes a long way. And if your agent is emotionally intelligent or just can kind of take the emotion out of it or take the ego out of it, they're going to take it and they're going to just be like, okay, and thank you. I get it.
Right. Oh, okay. That was a smooth way. I'm like, all right, better than ghosting. Be very direct and give the feedback so that they can work on it for their next client. I like that. That's super helpful. So here's my question to you. What made you like what's the most enjoyable part of working in real estate? Like what motivates you to provide excellent services to your clients?
Giving someone the keys or seeing someone like they've sold their family home,
Hmm.
maybe they're older couple and they're downsizing and now they're able to go move closer to like their kids and their grandkids.
Hmm.
They've moved out of state, so but now they have this money to go and do it. Or like that first time home buyer, like seeing that struggle and that roller coaster ride that we gone
Yeah.
through, like at the end, like y'all did it, you made it, you stuck through the course, and here we are. And like to see that enjoyment on them, there's nothing, honestly, like there's no better feeling than that. So that's what like keeps you going because you get a lot of bumps and bruises on
I'm
the
sure that's the best way to say it.
even beat up in these real estate streets. I'm not even gonna lie. We be getting off.
I'm sure. I'm sure. That's honest. And then, like, I ask everybody, what are your, I call them career affirmations, but what are your affirmations that you recite either daily or weekly to keep your motivation high, to keep your ability to stay focused? Because, like you said, y'all get beat up in these streets. It's heavy. It's heavy out here.
one that it's personal to me, but one
Mhm.
that I always say to myself is people want to talk to me, people want to hear from me.
Ooh, that's a good one. Say it again.
People want to talk to me, people want to hear from me.
I like that.
Because, sometimes we get in those ruts and we're like, but you got to remind yourself, like, we are the expert in this industry, right? And so people
Right.
want to hear from you. People do want to talk to you. So yeah, that's mine.
And you have a valuable voice.
Yeah.
People need to know your expertise and how you come with the insight and resources.
Yes.
As we wrap up, can you share just insight or your best piece of advice for an individual who is looking, maybe a first time home buyer? Because I know a lot of us are scary as hell. Tell us your best piece of advice if we are going to start looking for a house in the next like year or so.
Okay. Two things. If you're going to be looking in the next year or two, or a year or so, and you're scared, do everything scared. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Yep. Just don't worry about it. Just keep going. And start talking to your agent and your lender now, because we all think we've been on Credit Karma and we're like, my credit score is a 680, my credit score is a 540. But that's not your true FICO score. That's not what lenders look at. So we're always looking at your actual FICO score, and it could be higher or it could be lower. And
Mm-hmm.
you could be closer to getting a home than what you think, or you could be further away from getting a home than what you think. So it's always about, I love to tell people, let's sit, let's chat, let's put a roadmap together. Because if you are already thinking out a year ahead, you're like, this is what I want to do the beginning of 2025. Okay, well, we need to be making sure that we're getting savings together, that we're looking at your credit. We're telling you what cards to pay off, what debt to pay off, what debt to leave alone. You don't know that on your own. You
No.
just, because we hear stuff and we're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And now you've closed your oldest credit card. Well, why did you do that? That was your longest history. So now you've just messed up a huge percentage of your credit score because you closed off your oldest line of credit.
Right.
So when you don't know these things, right, it's no fault, but let us guide you and get
Mm-hmm.
you a roadmap, because it is a timely process. It doesn't happen quickly all the time. So let us help guide you. And this is what we do. We're not expecting for me to meet Jessica today and Jessica closes on a house in 30 days from today.
Right.
I'm expecting to sit here and work with you for months, for a year. Sometimes it's like 2 or 3 years where we're kind of like, because life happens.
Right.
Girl, I had to charge everything on the card. The credit score is
Right.
pay my credit. I lost my job. Life happens, and that's okay. Now that we're back in the groove, let's get back on it. So, long story short, talk with your professionals sooner than later, because they're going to put you on the right path to home ownership.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate that as one of the scary ass home, eventually home buyers, not yet.
But let's start. Let's talk.
Right. I agree. I agree.
Yes.
Tell us how we can connect with you. How can we get in contact with you? And do you have any events or anything coming up that people should be at?
I probably will have some events coming up this summertime. So those will come out on my social media. So if you are looking for me on social media, Erica Nicole, the realtor.
Yep.
So you can find me there. That is on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
You can also go to my website. It's erica.walthall@exprealty.com.
Okay.
So you can go there. You can always call me, 707-450-7356. So
I'll have to put it in the comments when we go unlive. When we unlive. Well, not unlive. When we unlive. I'll drop it all in the comments to make sure that people can reach you.
absolutely. Absolutely. So you can reach me at any one of those. I check my messages constantly. Like I said, you can call me at any time, like respectful anytime.
Right. Respectfully. Respectfully. I'm a business owner. I'm not available like that.
Well, I have kids. I got a husband, so I mean, I'll take late night calls, but like that's got to be planned.
Right. Don't just call me at 10 or 11. I have clients who are good for calling me at 11, and I'm like, is nobody checking for you? Because I can't just pick up an 11 o'clock call.
I'm not picking up. Like, there's nothing that's that important
at all. I'll call you back in the morning.
Not unless we're in the middle of a transaction. I may answer my morning. Hello.
Fair. If we're in the midst of it and we're fighting and battling, I get it. But everything else, I'll talk to you in the morning. I appreciate you so much, Erica, for allowing me to ask you all of these questions to gain more insight for those of us who are potentially looking or were discouraged in the first place. Because home ownership seems so far for some of us, but to know that it's possible.
It's very possible, and it does, and that's honesty. Like, it seems so far-fetched now, but let's do what we need to do. I'm tired of all these corporations buy up properties and renting them out. Like, we don't need to be a nation of renters. So,
absolutely. I'll make sure to put all of your contact information in the comments once we go live, and I will circulate your social media because I know you will be posting crazy.
I will.
Thank you so much. All right, Job Snatchers. That's episode 3.